salutations to all living beings in relation. Thank you for tuning to this station to free this new invitation.
Absolutely, you're very right about that. And just remembering the quality of the music along with the ethos behind it. Being in Florida, because that's where I was in Florida, South Miami Beach. It was such a raw feeling because, like you said, this is something where there's no intermediary. It's just straightforward. And something that's a trademark to Florida is this distorted 808 bass, and also the lo-fi bedroom rappers. Pair that together, and you have something that's kin to punk music, but in rap form.
I love the like grunge that was felt through that earlier, like through that specific era of SoundCloud where it's like, you know, you could feel that it's coming from like somebody's bedroom, you know, somebody's making it. It's like, you know, whenever like YouTube started and like you had those videos that people would randomly just take like on a camcorder and just upload it to YouTube. And it's just that raw versus now where you have like the Mr. Beast videos where you have, you know, millions of dollars of production quality going into them. And like, I'm not saying that I think that those are bad to have great quality or anything like that, but there's something special about like a low budget, low, you know, something authentic rather than having producers and stuff.
There's a human aspect behind it, essentially. And that's the beauty behind it. When you're dealt with the minimalism of your circumstances, richness will grow out of that. And we're talking about teenagers, man. I was 15. All my peers were around the same age group. We're just freestyling inside the cafeteria room, and we're not really knowing what we're doing behind this, but we're having so much fun. We don't have any music theory background, at least from where I'm coming from at that certain time. So with the limitations that we did have, we just had so much creativity that we wanted to share. You know, some of them, they're no longer rappers. Some of them, like, they've ventured into other genres of music, and I keep touch with them. For me, it always stuck with me. And that was just more so just the stomping grounds from being like lo-fi bedroom rapper to lo-fi laundry room rapper where I'm at right now. So
yeah. That's awesome. I mean, it's good to like, I think that it's great to keep grounded in that sort of sense. Whenever I personally feel like rap is probably my favorite genre of music. So, I mean, I feel like whenever you get somebody like Jay-Z, right? Like everybody's like Jay-Z's one of the greatest of all time. But I feel that as time has progressed and he's kind of lost the touch, he's no longer so directly associated with like the stuff he used to rap about because now he has money, you know?
Yeah.
So it's always, I think it's incredible when people have that ground to them and they stay there, you know, and they can keep, you know, harping on that, which they rapped about in the beginning that everybody loves. And, you know, because people love you for what you rap about, you know, and whenever you lose touch with the base of audience, your grassroots. Absolutely. Are there any particular musicians that you feel like you listened to them and you were like, that is the kind of music I want to make? Like that is, and I have a couple names in mind that I feel like you got inspiration from or that you are a big fan of, just judging off of listening to your music. But I'm just curious if they match up in my head what you have or what you would say.
All right. That's a good start. We're starting curiosity. A lot of the artists that I do like, it's kind of very interesting, man. I mean, we all start from underground. So I would say like the biggest inspiration is this underground rapper that a lot of people don't know, and he deserves a lot of credit. He goes by the name of Idea.
Okay. I've never heard of him.
Spelled is EYEDEA.
EYE? YEDEA?
Yep. Like the I that you have in your socket and DEA.
Huh. Okay. I'll look into that.
So I believe like him, he is the foundation in my lyricism and my artistry as well too. The reason being is I first was introduced to him through battle rap. And I'm a big battle rap fan.
Okay.
And so we're taking this back. You know, I'm gonna just touch on a little bit because I don't want to be led
No,
astray
go
with
for it.
this whole idea. With Idea, I was introduced to him probably in the 2015, 2016, around that time. And I listened to his album under the pseudonym Oliver Hart. The project is called The Many Faces of Oliver Hart. And the philosophy, the perspective, the attitude, the ruggedness behind it. I would say, even to this day, like beyond my high school angsty teenage years, there's something humanistic behind it, where that album, it talks about the human condition of understanding who we are as human beings and beyond that condition. And as a teenage boy, you know, that has a bit of a, you know, crude spiritual background.
Absolutely.
That's like a gigantic yearning where I'm like, wow, I have spirituality in my background and rap, which I love. And we have the synthesis where we have this amazing rapper who's able to talk about these two, like this aspect of it in such a lyrical and beautiful way. But beyond all that, I can give a whole review on that motherfucker. I love Nirvana, Kurt Cobain, love his ass. Ludacris, Little Bow Wow.
Okay.
Bjork is a Bjork. I love Bjork. Oh my god. Pardon me.
No, you're good.
Here. Don't get me started on Bjork. We have Company Flow.
Okay.
We have the leader of Company Flow, LPs, another big inspiration. A$AP Rock. The Prodigy, Jungle Brothers, and I'll just leave it at that because I have so much more I would like to say. But in a nutshell, like these people I was listening to during my formative years in my childhood and teenage years, and and Death Grips.
Okay.
With this gigantic eclectic amalgam, you got John Death.
That's beautiful. That you feel so, you know, it's great that you feel like you can like pull, like, you know, you see like little glimpses of that stuff in the things that you make, where you feel like you take like a little piece from that guy, a little piece from that guy, and it all just like kind of molds together into you. And I was listening most like overarchingly from your music. I listened to Zone Zero that you put out, your most recent single.
Yes, sir.
And I heard the intro, and I listened to your other music before that, and I thought, you know, I kind of got some Earl Sweatshirt vibes from him. And I heard the intro, and I'm like, I think that's Earl Sweatshirt. I don't want to like put it down. And then I was like, nah, that has to be Earl Sweatshirt. So I like looked it up, and I'm like, yep, I knew it, man. Earl Sweatshirt. I was like, dude. So I thought that was really cool that you used Earl Sweatshirt after I literally just listened to like a ton of your catalog. And then I was like, this dude like has Earl Sweatshirt, like Tyler the Creator vibes sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's what I like most about your music, honestly, talking about your whole like collective of music is I think you pull off so many different styles of rapping and so many different like different subgenres of it in such beautiful ways, in such it's such well done music. Every song that I've listened to has been good. And I mean, I'm sure you know as much as I've heard it, where you have a SoundCloud rapper and they, you know, maybe their top song is like really good. And then you go down a couple songs and it's not so hot. And it's like, okay, man, like, you know, but every single song that I listened to of yours, I was like, this is a good song, you know. It might not have been the greatest song you've made, but I was like, all of these songs are good. I would have no problem playing them. And what I did yesterday was I went to, I painted a house yesterday with my friend, and I said, we were all alone in there, and I said, hey, I'm interviewing this rapper, John. And I said, I'm going to play it. I'm going to play some of his music and see what you think, because he's a huge 90s hip hop head.
Okay.
And he loved it. Ate it up.
Wow.
90, like absolutely loved it. He loved your stuff. He loved the fact that it felt like an old school flow with new style beats was the way he put it. And I don't know if that's what you go for, John, but it's pretty high praise because he likes the greats, you know, like the big L's, Wu-Tang, huge Wu-Tang guy. Easy, like he's a huge fan of like the old hip hop. I don't know too much about it, but that's what he said.
You're making me feel good.
That's what he said. And that is word for word. And that guy knows more about 90s hip hop as a 22-year-old guy than any other 22-year-old guy I know. Guy loves old school hip hop.
I appreciate your friend a lot because, you know, even though that's not the aim, funny enough, I guess it's just a natural expression because I went through a very, very strong period in my adolescent to, matter of fact, like toddler years all the way to teenage years, a 90s hip hop trend. And so I guess I have some quote unquote a traditional background because of that formation. And naturally, I express myself in that way. Now, when it comes to the aspect of implementing the new modern hip hop, that's something that's, you know, no pun intended, relatively new because that was introduced by my peers, but most of all, my bandmate slash friend Snacks of Two Goals Made. He showed me all these type beats. He like showed me Yeet. I mean, he wasn't the first one, but through all the type beats that we rap on top of, the Yeets, maybe the Young Bands, the Sofagos. I don't listen to any of these people. All I do is what I know what I can do, essentially. Yeah. So when I hear these things, it took me a baby adjustment. I had to take some baby steps in order to get there, essentially. So that's why ultimately we have this mixture of old school with new school. And I feel like ultimately that pendulum is gonna swing in a very, very creative and destructive way, where it's gonna go to that opposite end, where it's gonna be reintroducing these older aspects with the mixture of the new. So what your friend had said, that Mr. Painter Man, I appreciate that dearly. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel the same way about it. When I didn't really think about it in that way until he said that specifically, and then he said it, and it was like a switch flicked in my head, and I was like, that makes sense, because it's like the beats sound very new and very refined. I like them. Sometimes there's a little bit. I think it was the song "What I Think About Every Time I Wake Up" reminded me. That song, great song, by the way, fantastic. Because and it's crazy to me because I was looking through beats that I was like, what could he hit like really well for freestyle? I was thinking about that, and I was like, okay, I want to pick something that I think he could hit really well. And I was listening to all the different songs, and I'm like, man, I don't know, because everyone's like slightly different. And then What I Think About Every Time I Wake Up comes on, and it's just totally different than like every other song that, you know, that I had heard to that point in the listening experience. And I was like, what do I do? Like, it had like the Childish Gambino vibe almost to it that I felt whenever I heard it. And I was like, I don't know. Like, and that's what I love about your music, is that every song I feel like has a little different something to it, where I'm like, it just kind of strikes me differently. And I love that, because it's not like I'm listening to the same song. Like, I listened to probably 7 or 8 songs this morning of yours. And I was just going to write down what I felt like it felt like to me. And every single one of them, I had no 2 songs that I felt like the exact same about, which is a beautiful thing, because too many people write, and they're writing the same thing over and over again. Yeah. You know, I wrote down different names like Busta Rhymes, Mac Miller, Vince Staples, Eminem, Bus Driver, Tyler the Creator, like all of the Nas, and like all of the Earl Sweatshirt, like all of those names I felt like I could have been listening to, you know, like that's the flow and the feeling that I felt whenever I was listening to it, which is beautiful, because I feel like you can just pull any of those out of your hat at any given moment. And that is so beautiful. Because I feel like a lot of rappers don't have that, to be able to like switch, boom, boom, or over here, you know? And that's beautiful that you have the ability to do that.
And thank you for those are really such kind, beautiful words that I hold near and dear. Oh my God, I sound like a fucking politician. But
And I'm sorry if you think any of those people suck. I'm not trying to offend you.
It's just the way how I said it. It's just like,
No.
but yeah, like I do value those words very deeply. I would say what I'm starting to realize right now, beyond the music, just beyond John Depp as a human being, Darien Labrador, or Jean Louis Labrador, if you want to say the whole thing, is when it comes to my eclectic background, where I'm able to pull many different hats. Essentially, as a personality, I'm very malleable. I can easily match energy. Now, I taught myself how to do that at such a very young age because I struggled to find an identity. And so, it's one thing I find extraordinarily funny. Like, I found the first identity, the identity or the strongest identity that I found was within music. And whatever artist I left a gigantic impression in me, I would just get lost in my imagination of wanting to be like them, essentially.
Yeah.
And mirroring that kind of energy, you have to, at least the ritual that I undergo, you have to listen it over and over and over and over. Like, for example, you listening to my music, in order for you to tap in my energy, it's a repetition. But not only just a repetition, there has to be an admiration, an understanding from this person's perspective. So not only am I listening to all those artists, because actually I've had listens to all those artists.
Yeah.
Not just based on content or what they're saying, but I'm talking about their cadence, their intonation, their speech patterns, how they articulate, the rhythm. There's so many minute details that not about a rapper, but what a human being is defined based on their own unique character, that if you take the time to analyze it, you essentially become that person. So I would say I'm doing a musical method acting practice.
Okay. That's beautiful. And I mean, I would say that you do a fantastic job at it, because whenever I listen to it, and whenever I listen to your music, more than anybody else's I think that I've ever listened to, I feel it in a metaphorical sense, where I feel like I'm just sitting in a room with you, just like listening to you just take care of business.
Yeah.
And it's real, it's not, it's not far-fetched. It's not like out there or anything. It's like we could be sitting here and, you could just be making music. You know what I mean? Like, it feels very real to me. And that's what I like. And it feels like, you really let your personality shine through your music, I think, which is a wonderful thing. A lot of people, totally different people outside of their music as opposed to inside, as opposed to what their music is sometimes. And I feel like it's very transparent with you for your, personality, from yourself to your music, and it just seeps through, and it, a lot of good vibes on it too, which is great, because I know a lot of like, say like Earl Sweat, like I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside, by Earl Sweatshirt, like a lot of like downbeat stuff. Like I was listening to one, I was like, man, it sounds like Earl Sweatshirt if he was like really happy, and if he went outside and he enjoyed doing stuff, And I was like, that's, and that made me laugh. And I was like, man, this is pretty good.
It's like the antithesis of the album. Like, I like going outside. I like shit.
Yeah, literally. I was like, dude, it's literally that, but like, it's like Earl Sweatshirt, but like really happy. But
that's a fucking, that's a big compliment, dude. Like, thank you for saying that.
No, absolutely. Like, that was and it took me a while before it popped in my head, before Earl Sweatshirt popped in my head for you. But like once it popped up, I was like, it's like a happy Earl Sweatshirt. It's beautiful.
Thank you, dog.
I love it. And that's the thing, is like, I love Earl Sweatshirt, but I also hate that he's always like so sad whenever he sings.
Yeah,
because it's like kind of depressing, and I'm like, man, I just wish he would like pick it up. And it's you.
Thank you, man.
I love it. So I'm really happy that So we talked about how you first started rapping, right? With you putting the names into the Schweppes and the Canada Dry, and then it was pulled out, right? Was that the start of the rapping for you? And how old were you at that time, and what progressed from there to when you were 15 or 16 that you really started writing?
That time when I was 4 years old, living on Long Island, Uniondale, with under my maternal grandmother's house. That period, I would say it was just me, the seed planted into eventually undergoing my rapper's journey. The thing about that incident is, okay, so I used to have very bad epilepsy. So from when I was 17 months old all the way, I would say, to 4 or 5 years old, and a lot of traumatic things happened. And one of them being I had to see a speech therapist because I had grand mal seizures. And with grand mal seizures, it affects both hemispheres of your brain, where essentially you neurologically short circuit. You lose control of your body. And these can be so damaging where it can affect certain faculties inside of your brain, specifically with speech. So I had to see a speech therapist. I had to have someone teach me how to use my tongue again. And I didn't understand grammar. And essentially what had happened was I learned a whole bunch of words. Like I'm just learning literature. I'm learning how to speak. I'm learning how to speak because of my therapist. I'm learning how to speak because of my mother. My mom, she's a great talker, as well as my father. He's a great conversationalist. Now, with genes and nurture, I have this affinity to, go towards words in order to understand how can I effectively communicate as a human being, even though I didn't understand that at such a young age, because that is such a gigantic thing to comprehend. So as time goes by, right, having that affinity, wanting to know how to talk to people, essentially, and listening to rap music as a way of just having an identity and just more so just enjoying music and generally speaking. It was a matter of environment. That's how I started rapping. So the right environment is when I was under the hot, smoldering sun of South Miami, Florida, and I'm in high school. We have to say in junior or senior year, I'm amongst all of my Zoes, Haitians, and they're all rapping. SoundCloud is popping. We're all freestyling in the cafeteria. And I just love it.
Yeah.
Because I'm already a witty person as is. I can, in a good day, I can unconsciously talk shit about you day in, day out. But it's gonna be funny. It's gonna be witty. It's gonna be sharp. So seeing everyone getting a lot of clout, a lot of attention, a lot of girl attention as a matter of that, because of their rapping skills, there is jealousy. There is wanting to be part of that crowd. Like how Little Uzi Vert happened to start. So I decided to pull out my composition book. I think my first verse I ever wrote, I can't tell you, man. Maybe it was probably 2016. I was listening to a whole bunch of MF Doom.
Okay. I thought about that in the lyricism. I was like, the lyricism and the rhymes are sharp like MF Doom. I'm glad you brought that name up.
Absolutely. May he rest in peace, another Long Island representative.
Yes, sir.
I was inspired by MF Doom. Now, I couldn't tell you what the hell I wrote down. My memory is very bad. I mean, respectfully. So I don't know what the hell I rap, but all I know was it was similar to that nature. And I also had an Android phone. I would constantly write inside my Android phone under my notes app. And I would just write a line, just punchlines. A punchline here, a punchline there, a punchline everywhere. Because I was also watching battle rap as well, too. So being in an environment, being a maturing teenager that's seeing a lot of people get attention and yearning to get valued himself, and always had a thing for words, that eventually prompted me is to start becoming a rapper at, say, 16 years old.
That's beautiful. And how long have you been uploading to SoundCloud? Since you were 16?
2018, since I was 18.
Okay. All right. That's beautiful. And have you ever, or let's put it this way, I'm sure over the years that you faced some criticism, and I mean, primarily, how do you like to respond, or how do you like to grow from that? What is your response to any criticism that you've received so far?
Well, you know what? I would like to correct you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Criticism is so seldom. I
Yeah.
wish I got more criticism.
Okay.
Ain't nobody can critique. Nobody can out critique me. You could even out critique me, right? Maybe you can. I don't fucking know. But,
I hope not. But you feel like you have a strong like sense of self critique before you were to put anything out. Is that what you mean by that?
Oh,
like,
yes, absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So when it comes to critiques, how I respond to that, good or bad, this is when I first started getting critique. So in order for me to answer that, I would have to answer it with this: the inception of my music being critiqued. I wasn't being critiqued musically, and this is before songs. I wasn't being critiqued musically until I got into college as a music major, as a pianist. So I picked up piano, and the thing about us, we got graded on our instrument performance. So I was being judged by 3 professional pianists who are also our professors. So they gave us the critiques by having paper right in front of us inside this folder. They write down how our performance was. They would critique it based on your theory, your expression, your performance, every little thing that we learned under the curriculum in that school. They would tell us. So I picked that up into my rap career. So the critiques that I got, even like the majority is good. Everything that you said about my music, that's what people are saying.
Yeah.
I mean, just in a less in like more detailed manner. But when it came to, things such as people not liking it, which is seldom, I would say the only quote unquote bad critique that I ever got is when I was promoting my song No Pressure from my EP, the Narration of Duff Part 1. I was promoting it through Instagram locally, and this one guy said it's not it, and it's not for you. God bless you.
Amen. That's the way to do it, and I'm glad. It's important to have that I don't want to speak for you, but perfectionist mentality before you were to release something, or before you try to put anything out there. Too many people don't have that mindset, I think. So I think that it's important for you to, whenever you strive to put out such well-made songs before you put anything out there, you critique it so heavily. And that probably saves you a lot in the critique on the back end from other people. So, because I know it's too easy for people to put out bad music on SoundCloud because it's too easy.
Yeah, you know what it is, and God bless them. This is just more so my sign of maturity. I say that to say this: the people that don't know the quality of the music due to a lack of criticism, they don't know what they don't know. They're only gonna learn when they put themselves out there, when they hop off that porch, they put themselves out in the field. Essentially, they're walking. They're gonna scrape their knee, and they're gonna feel the burn sometimes. The biggest thing about it is, as you get more critiques, you have to be open-minded that you're maturing. So I was blessed to have a background in music theory and going to college for music before I ever started my rap career, because I endow the mentality of being my own critic, a very good, positive critic, because I would have to take heed to each and every element that I'm trying to, just play around with in my music. So a lot of these people, they will learn from experience. That's the thing about it. You might not have the emotional intelligence to handle criticism if you're someone who learns based off experience, because you don't have the theoretical background in order to have hindsight, whether this is good or not. Now, I have that just a little bit, compared to my college colleagues who probably went to 4-year colleges, and now the professors themselves and all that jazz, who I might see once in a blue moon in a rare occasion. Compare that to, let's say a bedroom rapper as a stark contrast. Now, like beyond personal quirks, some one person may have an understanding, may have emotional resilience. Let's just say the one that's more temperamental, who takes it personally. Again, I have a friend. I'm not gonna say his name out of respect, but he's an R&B singer, and he's learning over time how to mature as a person, how to take criticism, and eventually he saw it as a positive in order to grow from his mistakes. But initially, he'll be like, the fuck is this person talking about? They don't know art. And maybe they don't.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. Now, if you want to go out your way and give a lesson to someone, do that, because that person might be ignorant. Maybe the person that's critiquing you doesn't know any better. Let them know, hey, this is what I was doing. Actually, I can give a perfect example. Zone Zero, the song you had mentioned earlier, I received a comment under the YouTube video for that song. And it was this gentleman. He said, oh, I really like the song. The production, it sounds similar to Clams Casino. And I hardly listen to Clams Casino. Hardly haven't listened to Clams Casino. But I know one song. And he said, like, it should have been mixed better. Maybe put the strings forward. Now, being that I used to, I produce a little bit here and there. Matter of fact, I was deeper into probably at one time producing than writing. So having that background and having that music theory background, I know where he's coming from. So I'm not going to take it personally.
Yeah.
So I told him, look, the producer for that song, C Robo, amazing producer, C_Robo, he produced that song, and he's a wonderful producer. And so when I first listened to that beat, I know where he was coming from, because I know that kind of music. So there's, it's apples and oranges, but it's only going to be apples and oranges compared to, for someone who understands the nuance. I know the nuance. I believe so. I don't know so yet, compared to that person who said, you know what? I see what you're going for. So I wanted to give him clarification. Now, I could have just been an asshole unknowingly and just said, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do that, because he cared enough to listen and say something. So God bless him.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of talk about this in the hip hop community. The Mount Rushmore of rappers.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Ooh,
Tough question, I know. There's a lot of great ones. Top 4 all time, in no particular order.
Oh, okay, easy peasy. Idea.
Okay.
LP. A$AP Rock.
Okay.
And Eminem.
All right, there you have it. So you left off. So leaving off people like Kendrick, or like how do you? So is he like an all-time great to you, but just not in your Mount Rushmore, or like?
Oh yeah, no, he's an all-time great. He's
okay.
Don't get me wrong. Kendrick Lamar, he'll probably smoke all these people.
Yeah, I mean,
but he's not my.
He's not your top. He's not your top 4. I respect that. What do we? Well, I guess after asking about that, what do we think about the Drake Kendrick beef that happened? Any thoughts on that?
Processing. Yeah, I'm processing that, because I don't know, man.
I didn't follow that too closely personally. I'm just curious if you have any, or actually maybe I should just turn the question into any rap beefs that, happen. How do you feel about rap beefs?
Okay, that's a better one, because, segueing to that Drake and Kendrick Lamar beat to talk about beef generally, I felt very weird about it. like I said before, I didn't watch it closely. Matter of fact, initially I was avoiding it because for whatever particular reason, I just didn't like the idea that we're going back and forth. Even though in commercial rap, there is a necessity for, I guess, competition, or at least for that aspect of battling to be shown more. And that's what the fans were yearning. So there was a side of me that wanted to see the battle go down, and I eventually, my curiosity got the best of me. But there was a side of me where, why are they beefing?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, some of the beefs, I think at least, feel I don't want to say like premeditated or just like over nothing almost, but like sometimes it just feels like the beefs are just like, hey, we're beefing. And then people they just start beefing,
It seems like a spontaneous thing, but let me say this. The Kendrick and Drake beef, I felt like, one, it was needed in the sense of seeing a battle go down of the greats. Why? It's just so we can see like the best of what hip hop has to offer. When we have two people, the best in the craft, go against each other. Because battling is such a beautiful thing to go down in order to exhibit top-notch skill within the art.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, that's why we have battle rap outside of hip hop, and unfortunately, usually in commercial hip hop, it's in the form of beef, and that's when we have two titans go against each other. So how I see it, it's just like any other sport. I see it like soccer. The only issue is what I have my beef with this beef is, these people, they're way too powerful to be focusing the energies on something so trivial, because despite how trivial it is, there's dire consequences that follow. I've heard that one of Drake's bodyguards got shot up supposedly because of result of this beef. Caskets were being shipped to DJ Khaled and Drake because of the beef. People's families are being exposed. Allegations, legal action is following. It's highly unnecessary. And this is why, when it comes to beef, we need to differentiate beef from battling. It is not the same thing. It is not synonymous. If you're beefing with someone, you have a problem. If, say, for example, if I have beef with someone in hip hop, that's not beef in hip hop. We have beef outside. Straight up. I'm not going to be beefing over a microphone with you. Like,
no, absolutely.
Imagining myself, you, sir, you're in front of a microphone, Matthew.
Yes, sir.
I'm beefing with you. But I have a microphone. Nigga, you ain't shit. Like,
no, I hear you.
I'm not gonna do that to my poor microphone like that. I'm gonna have to see you.
Yeah.
So, but if you do want to battle, we can set it up. We can go 1-on-1, because I love battling. I'm a big fan of battle rap. So I'm split, but essentially my perspective of it was so unnecessary.
Yeah. I hold, and as an outsider, I'm not like, too entrenched in the rap community. I'm not a rapper or anything like that. I enjoy listening to it, but sometimes it feels a little trivial. I do think that the Kendrick and Drake beef was great for a certain was great because I think it exposed a lot of people who generally didn't listen to hip hop, might have just been like R&B Drake fans or whatever. I think that exposed a lot more of the world to rap. I do think that was a good thing that happened because of it, but I do think that the beef that happened with caskets being shipped and things like that, getting shot, just unnecessary for the type of beef that was happening,
Oh yeah.
And that's crazy, and you got to figure out when the line is drawn and in the sand, so to speak, for things like that of that nature.
Yeah, at the end, we should all be collaborating. Like back in the day when you saw Drake and K Dot collaborate with each other under like such as fucking problems. That was legendary. Now we don't know what happens in the background between these two people. Maybe they don't even know each other like that. They probably just hear about from he say, she say. But then, as people become more powerful, you can't help but your names intersect one another,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually you're gonna meet each other somehow in some way.
Yeah.
And that might cause some contention, unfortunately, depending on the personality that you are.
Yeah.
Now, you made a very valid point. It did introduce a lot of people to hip hop, whether that's good or bad. Nonetheless, though, attention is attention. And it did it's just another checkpoint for hip hop, for it being one of the most prevalent things in culture,
Yeah.
generally speaking, global culture around the
Mm-hmm.
globe. It's not even a Western culture. We're also talking about Eastern culture as well, where this will play a great influence in our culture for many years to come. The thing about it is, though, the ramifications of how this defines our human nature, generally speaking. For me, I don't like the idea of people going each other's necks and talking
Mm-hmm.
about family, because it gets personal. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, like,
Yeah.
I watch battle rap. Someone
Mm-hmm.
will say, I will fuck your unborn
Yeah.
child.
Yeah.
Straight like that. A
Mm-hmm.
part of my language.
No, you're
But
good.
things like that happen at the end of the day. Like, you're like, yo, man, I love you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That thing needs to happen after every battle,
Mm-hmm.
just so there's unity. Because whenever there's competition, there's collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if collaboration doesn't happen at the end of it, then it's just more so a battle of the egos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like that specifically battle rapping, things like that push people to be better. It promotes growth, I think, predominantly. Like if you're playing soccer or, basketball or football, a lot of those, you get better by playing better people. That's why you have kids that, travel teams and stuff. So you go out and play the best of the best in areas around you and things like that. Yeah. I think that's like the greatest part of like either battle rapping or beef, because, it can push so that we can see, where somebody's pushes people to their best, I think.
Yes.
And I'm all for that. I'm all for pushing pushing for the best, because you really want the best. You don't want, if somebody's holding out on you, they don't have to go hard. They don't have to, elevate their game to match your game or anything like that. Then, we're not seeing any growth. And I think growth is a really important skill that we, as, people need, whether that's in work, whether that's in our everyday lives, whether that's in relationships, whether that's in anything, we need somebody who can push us to be better. And I think that is a really integral part of rap, I think.
It is.
I would say that's because I know that whenever I was in high school, I assume you were in high school around the same time, because we were talking about the SoundCloud rap rise. But like the Meek Mill Drake beef, where, putting out different mixtapes, and stuff, that was beautiful. And I think that really, elevated things.
Yeah.
And it branched out to new communities, which is beautiful. Let me switch over here to, two different tracks, so to speak. Because I've always had this question in my mind, and that I don't really know any rappers to ask, so I'll ask you. Whenever you are coming up with a new idea, new song, new anything, do you like find a beat that you love first, or do you write the lyrics first, or what is your creative take me through the creative process that usually happens for you? Because I've always, it's like chicken or the egg, man.
It is. So, chicken or the egg? It really depends on what you identify with the most at the very moment. Sometimes I'm the egg, sometimes I'm the chicken. But in this analogy, what is the chicken? I would say the beat. I do find myself writing to the beat first and foremost, because I feel like it's the most fundamental thing that I identify with music. I just want to vibe first and foremost. Now, don't get me wrong. I like to write as well too. My primary is writing, so I write a lot in my notes. Sometimes I might write in my rap book, or whatever. It could be a composition book or whatever, and there's no beat behind it.
Yeah.
You know, and back in the day when I was an avid writer, we're talking like in the span of 4 years, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, all the way up until actually no, make that 6 years ago, spanning all the way up to 2023, just non-stop writing.
Okay.
Non-stop writing
Yeah.
with no beats involved the majority of the time because I just wanted to amaze myself, get my craft up, and also I just heard it in my head how I wanted to go. There was always a flow in mind, you know. So essentially, the beat always starts in here. Either you're inspired to write something and you just hear a beat, then you start writing off of it, or the opposite, you hear a beat outside of yourself, then it encourages you to write. But these days, I modulate in between. Sometimes I might hear something in my head and I write down the lyrics with no beat in mind, or sometimes a beat in mind. Or majority of the time, my colleague Justin from Two Goals Made Snacks, he'll send me a beat and I'll write for it. And I'm so proficient, it doesn't even matter anymore. But I'm more so a guy that writes first with no beat than with the beat.
Now, going off of that, do you ever, like, you said you got the composition books of like lyrics, you know?
Yeah.
Do you ever like hear a beat that maybe somebody sends you? They're like, hey, we think you'd kill this beat. And you start listening to it and you're like vibing to it. And I just picture in my mind, you like rummaging through the notebook. Like you're like, I know the lyrics that I want for that song. Does that ever happen where you're like, I know I got one ready here, and you're like scrolling through the phone, ready to click one, and you're like, this is it. Does that ever like happen to you? I don't know if that's like real or not. That's just if I was a director of a movie, that's how I would have it playing out. You know?
You know, like it's so funny that you created that image because I would like for that to be true.
Oh no! Oh no, my dream.
It's
not true.
For me, majority like 95% of the time, that is not happening at all. Everything in my composition books, everything in my phone, they will never see a beat.
Really?
I write for the sake of writing. The only things that will ever see the light of day for a beat are one-liners.
Okay. Gotcha.
I have a whole bunch of one-liners in my notes app in my iPhone, and I have a lot of ammo.
You got a couple one-liners you want to drop for us? You drop a couple one-liners for us? I just want to hear the beauty.
You don't mind if I check my phone?
No, bro. Go for it. Hit it. Hit whatever you look up, whatever you got to look up. You got something you want to look up, go for it, man.
Sure thing. The funny thing about it is all these one-liners I'm trying to save it for battle rap eventually.
Oh, absolutely. If you've already used some, go ahead and use those. I haven't heard them, so.
Okay, so this is something I wrote in May 2nd, 2025 at 3:41 a.m.
Okay.
You want to know what's one of the benefits of being a toxic person in battle rap? Knowing that your opponent's battle rap career will never be shit. I'm sorry for being callous, but as far as you being a challenge, you keep the ocean sanitary. I don't see shit. Thank you for your service of showing that you suck at life. If you really want us to never remember if you just rap for one last time, first impressions make the deepest dents for the body to rest. And that's where I left it off.
That's beautiful. That's good stuff. Like that's lyrical. I mean, I don't really know the proper terms for that, but I felt it, you know?
Thank you.
And I think that's, you know, the goal behind that is feeling it. Yeah. That's beautiful. I mean, and so you have tons of that. You got pages of that. No?
They go as far. Okay, so yeah. I have one dedicated page of verses and lines that dates all the way back to 2017.
Whew. So you got stock. You could be Drake's ghostwriter, man.
Hey, let me give one more.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so here's another one. I know for a fact you're a virgin. You need humongous help. Do you want to know what real pussy feels like? Go fuck yourself.
See, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. John Deaf, everybody. That's
There
what
you
we
go,
like to
man.
hear. Dude, so do you get inspiration and you just like write it down? You just get
Yeah.
inspiration anywhere. You just like I know my dad, huge like comedy fan or whatever. Like he loves comedy, loves making jokes, and like sometimes I will see that dude like wake up out of his chair. He'll be like napping in his chair at like 6:30 on a weekday. He'll wake up and he'll just like start furiously writing on a piece of paper. And he's like writing. I'm like, dude, what is going on, man? He's like, dude, I was like, great joke. It'll like at some point it'll come through, and he like sticks the notes in his wallet and stuff. Like that's like you with the lyrics. I feel you ever just like have a random like epiphany, you like wake up in cold sweat middle of the night and you're like, I just got it. I got it. And then you start
It's
typing
funny you
it
should
up.
say that. Sometimes I might have. Okay, this was maybe 2 months ago. I had a dream that the rapper Jid.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a dream I was in the recording studio with Jid rapping in front of him. Oh no, me and Jid we're doing a collab. He was featured on the song, and I remember I was rapping my ass off in this dream, and I woke up. I remember two of the lines. I was like, oh, I gotta put this shit down.
Dude, that's the best.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. That's literally just legendary stuff right there.
Yeah.
That's
I have
awesome.
dreams of like it's crazy because if you really love this and you think about it constantly, you can take things from your dreams, 100% original.
Yeah.
And just like
pop it out.
I'm saying that.
Yeah. That's how you know you're really about it, when you're having dreams being with Jid in the studio, man. That's how you know you're really about it. Yeah. Going from that, being in the studio with Jid, any artist that we haven't mentioned, maybe we should maybe put that out there. Any artist that we haven't mentioned so far, if you could feature on one of their tracks, who do you want? Who do you want to feature on? I know we've mentioned a lot of great names out there.
Pardon me.
Because I know it might be Idea. I know you have a lot of respect for him.
I do, but he's dead.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's dead.
No, you didn't say that, or no.
Yeah, he's dead.
I had to do my research in that 10 minutes between Zoom calls.
It's fine. May he rest in peace, but he's dead. The only thing I can think of right now is like doing a feature with Rico Nasty.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's beautiful. Have you done any live performances? Or have you done any live performances, or do you have any plans to do live performances in the future, anywhere in particular?
So the amount of live performances I've done, it's all in my fingers. We done.
Hey, that's 7. Okay. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. And how did they all go? Well, everybody was a big fan. Did you come out with any wisdom or any learning or growth, maybe?
Okay, so very good question. I'm trying to remember. So I can't remember the first performance that I've had, but I've been performing ever since, I would say, 2022. I think the biggest performance, like maybe my second performance ever, maybe third. I was performing under this showcase event called Who's Mike?
Okay.
Whose mic is it? This was located in Bushwick, Brooklyn, in this one venue. It was like this bar that had a performance stage, and I rocked the house.
Awesome. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
I was the fourth performer, and the entire time. Okay, so the song I performed is the single called "Liquor Store."
Okay, I'm a big fan. Big fan. That is a good one. That's one of my favorites.
And this was before Liquor Store was released.
Okay.
So I the entire time I was trying to manifest this performance in my head, telling myself I'm gonna kill it, I'm gonna kill it, I'm gonna kill it. And eventually, when it was my time to go, it felt so natural being up there. Even though I was nervous, don't get me wrong. I it was just I just knew I knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
So it was so good, right? Everyone else, they had 2 songs to perform, maybe even 3 or 4. I only had 1 song.
Yeah.
It was so good they wanted an encore.
Dude, that is awesome. That's your, and I bet that did wonders for the I bet that did wonders for your confidence as an artist and, moving forward as a human being, in this space.
Yeah. Did I absolutely.
That is awesome. So if you currently right now where you are, after, you've had 7 performances, you have a great body of work, put out there. If there was an aspiring, say 16-year-old you, what would you tell them? What would you either tell you at 16 or somebody else who's, looking to become an aspiring rapper, trying to get some live performances, because experience tells everything. Experience has a lot of wisdom comes with it,
Yeah, absolutely. 16-year-old Darian. Wow. 16-year-old Darian, I'd rather just stick with another 16-year-old because my 16-year-old me was crazy. I was crazy. I can't even talk about 16-year-old me. But another 16-year-old, I would tell him if when it comes about being an aspiring artist, really wanting to do this, it goes beyond music, man. You really need to know how to be yourself. Even if this is something that you don't want to do, but you genuinely feel as if you want to do this, I want you to go out there. I don't want you to be shameless about who you are as a person, even if you're not the best person there, even if you're possibly the worst performer / artist there. I want you to be so shameless that you lose yourself in what you're doing. And at that moment, you're going to be the biggest star there, because after that, with experience comes learning. And if you do not shame yourself throughout this entire process, when it comes to performing, making music, whatever, no doubt about it, you will always succeed.
That's beautiful. That's some heartfelt words. And I think that is good advice, no matter what you're doing, whether you're a rapper, whether you're any musician, or whatever your craft may be. That is beautiful because, dedicating yourself fully to it and, really leaves you room to grow.
Yeah.
And I love that. Do you have any future goals as you stand right now? What are your future goals with rapping? Are you looking to come out with are you looking to put out some more albums, more singles, or where do you want to go in the future? What's next for John Dev?
That's a good ass question. Pardon me as I look into the light right over here ignoring you. But what do I want to do in the future? Well, I do want to drop an EP, a 4-track EP. It goes by the name of Thin Thread 2.
Okay.
It's a sequel of my first EP, Thin Thread 1, which was solely produced by Papa Enoch, or formerly known as Papa Enoch, amazing producer. And with the likes of that, I'm probably going to be finishing it by the end of this month. Hopefully at least get 1 music video on the way.
Okay.
And I'm trying to also have another music video for 2 Goals Made, have a whole bunch of singles put out for that place. I want at least 1 song to get 10,000 views, just 10,000 streams. That's all I want.
Okay.
10,000 streams for this year, just so I can prove I can do it. Probably by halfway this year, if that's a possibility. And once we reach that, then I want to aim for maybe 50,000.
Yeah.
So my main goal is to at least have 1 song have 50,000 streams, say on Spotify.
Yeah.
By this year, because I know if we have that 1 song have 50,000, knowing that all my music is nice, is a domino effect is gonna happen.
Absolutely. And so you were talking about your EP coming out, and you have some other stuff on the way. And where can they find you at? Where can the listeners at home find you at, John?
They can all find me in every streaming platform on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, Pandora, probably anywhere. If you want to holla at me, talk to me on my Instagram. I'm very communicative. I want to collab.
True, he is very communicative. I can attest to it. That's how we communicated for this. Very communicative.
So holla at me strictly on Instagram. That's where my home is at. And if you want to see my visuals and other things that aren't featured on Spotify per se, go on my YouTube, go on my SoundCloud, and stay in tune. I'm a great personality, and my personality shows my music as well.
That's true. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Whenever you were talking about your songs that you've made, is there any special song or any special song that you feel like whenever you made it, you were like, I really like this song? Like, what's your favorite song that you've put out? I see you smiling. I know you got a couple that are coming to mind.
Oh, okay. So this was during the period when I was really up in my craft in music production. So this dates back in 2020,
okay,
COVID era, and I was getting super nice producing. And this one song called Incels, I produced that, I engineered it, I wrote for it, I did everything for that song. That has the most personality. It's not better than Drown, which I also produced. Incels, why that has a special place for me, because it's based on a true story. So to give the background story for that song, it's about this girl named Savannah. And me and Savannah, we crossed paths back in 2020 when I was working as a cashier at Panera Bread in Broadway Mall, Hicksville. And she was working as a co-manager for this fashion boutique called Broadway, New York. Very attractive girl. And during that time, I thought she was the girl of my dreams. And super quirky work. So the first half of this song, Incels, everything is true. I'm talking slim, thick with some big hips, light skin, sounding British, light skin image. Overall, she can get this dick. Everything was true about that.
Yeah.
And me wanting to hit a texter right after work, and us going to the Spanish restaurant on the border, or it was like off the border. I don't know, fucking something with a border. Let's just say on the border, the Spanish restaurant that's right next door to Panera Bread, and it not working out, and she's 2 hours or maybe 1 hour away from where I work at. All of that is true. The second half of the song, where the beat changes and it gets super duper distorted, and I start singing, that's just me being hyperbolic. I'm over exaggerating it. That all of that is a big fat damn lie. I'm not an incel. I'd rather be a simp than an incel. Don't believe that. So that song is so near and dear to me, because when I made that song, I was really going through it. I really liked this girl, but I wasn't in the right headspace. And a lot of crazy things, I was homeless.
Yeah.
So when I released that song, I was in my car for a period of time. So it was a very fun time. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. It was pretty fun.
Awesome. That's awesome that you have such a intense story to go along with that song, and to really drive home the point of that song, because it's not easy to be able to make a song that has such strong ties to yourself, and you have that you can make songs like that have those ties to you, directly to you, and you can also be hyperbolic at the same time. I think that's a beautiful thing, like you were saying about that second part of that song.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Before, we have about 7 minutes left on here, and I asked you to do a freestyle for me. Yeah. So let me take a little share screen here. Make sure that I can play this. All right, I have a couple different tracks that we can run. If you're not feeling it, okay? So you tell me if you can get down with it. Can you see it? You hear it?
Yeah, I see his sus face.
You get down with it?
Let's hear it. I never heard it before.
We can restart it once we get. You just let me know if you rock with it.
It sounds like silence.
Oh, it sounds like silence?
Yeah.
That's not good. Let's Oh, that's not good. I thought I had this figured out. This might be it.
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
I can get down with this.
You can get that. You know already?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know whenever you're ready. I'll backtrack it. You good?
I fuck with it.
All right. Let me know when.
Go. All right. No promises. Bump that battle oil. Make it louder.
Make it louder?
Yo. Make it louder. These kind of hours feeling souder. Have to hop on the shower to refresh the power. All off of the top, all off of the dome. My man Matthew, he said he wants to do this. I'm sitting in my grandmother's home. Inside of the basement, people loving the sound of the cadence. Even though it's coming off the strangest. Be buzzing, I be bugging out like I was a Al-Qaeda. No one can be bombing on me like they were Al-Qaeda. I already told you, it's John Definite. Every single time I'm coming with these sentences, I come before the competition like I was the predicate. No one's better than me when it comes to the etiquette. No addiction, you need to stop fucking listen. All on top of the dome when it comes to me spitting. Yo, the magnificent one that stays gifted with this ability like I was retarded. Rapping inside my grandmother's apartment. Don't start shit. I'm so high that I'm waving to the Martians. I'm inside of the star shit. And it's all so barbaric. When it comes to competition, they always leave embarrassed. Now they become my clearance, they become the client. Because the way that I'm dropping science, more than Bill Cosby dropping babies. John Depp, he sounds like he's from the 80s. Snorting crack and smoking at the same time. Action Bronson with these rhymes, so defined. Shout out to Jock King of Divine Records. That's my muse, that's my inspiration. When I listen to his tunes, I'm like, damn, he's amazing. That's MF Doom and the placement right in front of the screen. As you can see, John Depp, he stays amazing, always blazing, always been, and he leaves amazement stuck in all of you guys' fucking faces, looking dumbfounded. No, we cannot go around it. It's like the sound, how the way it just surrounds you, like Big Pun. You better beware the way that MF Doom stares. That I gotta sit back in my chair, but it's right behind me, and it's more likely that I'm standing up for this while I'm rapping to the trumpets and the violins. That's the orchestra. No one can get to me. They better close the orifices. They better shut the mouths before I surmount them and leave them nothing but doubt. I'm kinda getting stuck, I'm kinda blubbering. I'm wondering how I can get above this shit, but I'm continuous on with the tunes. While I be rapping the instrumentals of MF Doom. Was he the one that produces? It's ruthless. I really do this until I become fucking toothless. All the tubes are coming out of my mouth, no doubt, like Gwen Stefani. Yo, pass me the Bacardi. We about to start a party. It's very alarming how these rappers are so whack. They smell like they were farting. Straight shit. I always kicking it with the beautiful diction that no one can ever predict this shit.
Okay. All right, man. That was incredible. I don't think I've ever witnessed any freestyle quite like that. That was incredible. Now I know what the encore was all about. Whenever they were asking you for that encore, man. That was it. That's it, man. That's it. Like, I got nothing. That was it. That was wonderful. I don't think I've ever experienced something quite like that, listening to it directly or talking to somebody quite directly. That was incredible. I'm dumbfounded. I have no words for that. That was wonderful. I hear you drop a Big Pun in there. And I was like, man, this is it. This guy is, you're John Deaf.
Thank you, man.
That's wonderful, man. That is incredible. And I'm so glad I got you to do that. Whenever you said, what did you say whenever I asked you about if you do freestyles at all? You said something about you're confident in your abilities, but you know, you're not like, you wouldn't call yourself
like that.
I think you do freestyle like that. I think you do freestyle like that. I think that was a freestyle just like that. That was it, man. That was it. I love that. Dude, that is wonderful. And as our room has about 2 minutes left, I think that's a beautiful place to cap off tonight. Yeah. If you think so. I mean, that was lovely. Thank you so much for being on here. Thank you for blessing my ears with that. I've never heard a freestyle quite like that. That was wonderful. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for talking, and thank you for chatting and doing your thing, man. Thank you. Any last words? I got a minute and a half left. You got until the clock runs out to let the people know about you, what's coming up, what's going on.
So check it out. My name is John Def. Catch me on Instagram, John JOHN_DEFINTIVE definitive. I don't know if I spelled that right. Now, Thin Thread 2, that's going to be coming out soon. Please peep that. I'll probably be dropping the visualizer soon. Blackout, that's going to be the single I'm going to be releasing. And just check out for me. And thank you, Matthew, for interviewing me, man.
Absolutely, sir. I will be in touch with with further stuff. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And on that note, John, it's been a pleasure.
Been a pleasure, dog.
Thank you, sir. Have a great rest of your evening.
You too, mate.
I don't think I've ever experienced anything quite like that, I'll be honest.